Here's this type named printer, one active behavior print. It's that interface type, it's that valueless type. And then I have my concrete type user, and user implements the printer interface. There it is again using those value semantics. Now, what I'm doing here in line 28 is constructing a value of type user. But then on line 32, I create this, this collection, right? A slice of the interface type printer. I'm creating a collection of printer values, right? But really what I'm doing is creating a collection of data, not based on what the concrete data is, but based on what it can do. And this is your kind of first form of syntax that allows you to start to look at how can I group different types of concrete data together, work with different concrete types together under some sort of common umbrella. And that common umbrella in Go is always going to be the behavior. This is not an object-oriented programming language. We're not going to have concepts, as you're going to see, of type, subclassing, type subclassing, things like that, where we can group dogs and cats by an animal, by a concrete type. All grouping in Go is going to be based on behavior. So if I study this code for a second, I'm going to move now back over to the whiteboard. Whiteboard is still, I keep hitting it, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be in frame. Now, we do construct this user value. So there it is. There's that user value. It's got Bill in it. And this is one of the cool things I want to show you here. We're now going to construct a slice of printer, this valueless type printer. And that means that we're going to have our slice value. There it is, a collection. And if you look at the literal construction, I'm actually storing a value of type user in there and the address. When we talk about data, and I may have said this already, I don't remember, but when I use the word data, I'm either talking about the value or the address. Addresses are data. So you might hear me say value. You might hear me specifically say address or pointer. They're synonymous. And then you'll hear me say data, and I mean both. And so if we look at this, I'm going to be adding two pieces of data to this collection during construction. And remember, we're creating a slice, a collection of interface values, because we're decoupling here. And in this one particular case, in index 0, you can see what we're saying is store a value of type user, which means that we're going to end up with our own copy of you. Anytime we're working in our value semantic mode, that's what that is right there. We're in value semantics. Everybody's operating on their own copy of the data. We're going to end up with this. But then on line 38, I'm operating in pointer semantic mode. And, I'm saying this. I'm saying let's share that original U value. So, like, structurally, this is what we're putting together. And I could put any concrete value or pointer, any concrete piece of data that exhibits the right behavior in this collection. Right now I only have a user, and I'm showing you the two semantics at play here. And what's nice, or interesting, I don't want to say it's nice, is that, on line 42, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this data out. Eric, show the screen real quick. On line 42, I go ahead and I change the state of U. But only those elements in the collection that are using pointer semantics would see that change, because your value semantics would be isolated from that. You're operating on your own copy of the data. So if we come back to the board, I make this change. Well, only index 1 is going to see that change. It's operating in a pointer semantic mode. Index 0 is isolated from that. It's operating in a value semantic mode. And then if we come back to the code and we look on line 46, we see that for range, you see we're using a value semantic form of the for range. It's the right semantic to use because when it comes to our built-in types and our reference types, we want to give everybody their own copy. And what this is going to do is allow the variable e, which is a local variable to the for loop, E becomes a copy of every element that we're iterating over. So if we come back to the board for a second, and we call print in this polymorphic way, this is E as a variable as part of the loop. On the first iteration of the loop, E begets a copy of index 0. There we are. And when we call print, we're calling print against our copy. Then on the next iteration, maybe I'll use another color. On the next iteration, what happens is now we're going to say this is a pointer of type user. And we're going to point here. And then when we call print against E, we'll be calling print against the original. So we'll see that we won't see the change, and then we will see the change. These are a lot of the mechanics and things that are going on when we start thinking about this. So if I come back to the code and we run this, you'll see that we don't see the change on the first iteration. We do see the change on the second iteration. And it has to do with the fact that we're using these pointer and value semantics in different ways.